All right, guys. So, translations, reflections, and rotations. All right. So those are examples of rigid motions. So basically, a rigid motion is just when the transformation happens, both shapes that we end up with are congruent. Okay, they're congruent shapes. So really, the only time it won't be a rigid motion is if we dilate the figure or make it bigger or smaller. All right. Um, So moving on, the first one we're going to talk about is translation, okay? So that means to vertically and or horizontally slide a figure. Okay. So I think of like that cha-cha slide song they play in like middle school, Slide to the left, slide to the right, you know, 3 hops this time. But so you're moving left, right, up, down, whatever, okay? So the coordinate notation. So this is going to be our general term. Okay. So this is kind of like something you're going to see. And, from here on out in math, this is how they describe things with variables and everything like that. So if you're not understanding this right away, it's really not that difficult. It'll make more sense when we have numbers. But remember, all these variables just hold the place of some number. So what we're saying here for coordinate notation is we're going to have a coordinate x, y. Okay. So that's going to be some number. And what we're going to do is we're going to have the x value, and we're going to take that x value and we're going to add or subtract. But we always use the plus symbol because really subtraction is just adding a negative. So we're going to add or subtract a number, and that number is h. Okay. And then we're going to take our y value and we're going to add or subtract a k value. K just means some number that we have. Okay. So the h there represents the horizontal shift, okay? The horizontal shift. So that means on the horizon, on the x-axis, okay? So this, we're shifting either to the left or to the right, okay? So there's supposed to be arrows to the left and to the right. So that's what's going on there. Now, for our k here, our k is the vertical shift, okay? So that is on the y-axis, and that means it's going to go up or it's going to go down, okay? So if we look at an example here, we have this rectangle QRST, okay? So the first thing is you got to make sure you're plotting points correctly, okay? So you got to plot QRST, so that's going to be at -6, -1, all right? And then that's going to be Q. So make sure, and this is where when you're plotting these points, guys, I can plot it right on here, but you guys can always plot them on Desmos. I put a link to Desmos and Canvas, and that's where I'd recommend that you plot the points. Now, if you have graph paper, that's fine too, whatever your preference. But if you don't have access to that at home, use Desmos to plot these points. So create a table and use Desmos to plot the points, and then you can kind of see where we're going to be moving them to, all right, to make that image. So r is at -3, 1. So that is going to be r right there. All right, and then s is at 1, -5. That's s down there. All right, and then t is at -2 and then -7. All right. Oh, I'm sorry, s is at 1, +1, -5. That's what I messed up on. All right, so here we go. So s is at +1. There we go. All right, so we got S and we have T. So I'm going to try and connect the dots here. I always try and connect the dots, and you can, if you create a table on Desmos, you're able to connect the dots as well, so you can see the image. It's kind of helpful to make sure that we're not making mistakes or anything like that, because obviously I could see like my S wasn't plotted. I thought it was at -1, so I read that wrong. So if you need to, make sure you connect the dots. So you can kind of get a picture, because it says a rectangle, so it should look like a rectangle. So for this, we have our translation rule, okay? So it's x plus 5 and y plus 7. So for this, the video is going to end here, so we'll start this one on the next video.